Hello everybody from the YouTube channel. As you can see, I have Makeitabud here today, and we're going to be doing a special video. Not oftentimes do we do these exclusive videos where we're not live and we're just kind of hanging out and discussing something. So, as you guys know, Makeitabud has been in our previous podcast, but due to, him being very busy, he's unable to join us lately. So I wanted to do this video with him to kind of discuss a little bit more about this ancient crystal shop. Well, first, how you doing, Makeitabud? It's been a while since I talked to you.
Doing good. It's weekend, so weekend's always a good day.
Yeah.
Weekdays, as you know, is pretty tough. Apologies, I travel for work, so.
No, it's totally understandable. Yeah, it's really tough getting everybody together for the podcast, but they usually lately there's been able to get 4 people, so it's been really good.
Glad to hear, man.
Let's get your general thoughts about ancient crystals then, since you weren't a part of that podcast. Yeah, give me a rundown of what you think about it.
So heads up, I did not listen to what they said, so whatever I say may be very different.
Okay.
I think it's a great way. I think it's very entertaining. I think it's definitely how Comtuous has built up Summoner's War throughout all this time, right? Through random elements of chance. I think it's very fun, and I think having something to do with your dupe nat 5s is great, right? It's a bonus, right? I think it's a bonus. It's a little shot in the foot for me because, as you may have known, I have fed a couple things and brought it back into the ecosystem.
You made me feed from some of yours on stream.
And I made you do it, but that was just as much as people. So I've fed a Perna and a Wusa to a Diana as like a thank you Comtuous for a Diana. Type thing, which was really stupid in retrospect.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
But most of mine actually went to skill ups, right? I've nearly skilled up a Triton through this stuff. I've probably thrown in like 30 dupes. And so when it came to this, I only had 13 dupes, which is incredibly unfortunate. But overall, I think this is it's a good way to engage players and make it not feel like a punishment to get a dupe. And I think it's great overall. I think it will favor the players that have LDs a lot more than players that don't have LDs. And the reasoning why is that LD players typically lack runes a little bit more than those that don't have LDs. Like when I fight on the ladder, my LD counterparts don't have runes that are as good as mine, right? So I'm able to outcompete them because maybe my draft is superior and I have better runes. If you add more avenues to give runes, it kind of inherently will make it more difficult for me to compete over time. That being said, I don't think that as much as we have 20 refreshes, I actually don't think it's as powerful as people may think. Because there are 20 types of runes, 15 types of runes,
and this is assuming that when we do refreshes, it's random, right? There's all the different kinds of runes, different slots, different roles, right? We assume everything is a fair playing field. There's a lot of permutations, like, is that the right word? Different variety of like combinations that can come
correct. And I am assuming that it's a linear distribution. Oh man, I don't know how it's glitched. I only have 15 refreshes this month.
Oh, is that a glitch? Oh shoot!
Oh man!
So just like you didn't click it 5 times when by chance, did you?
I have no idea how that happened.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I did 5 the other day because I was bored and I was like, hey, I really want to do this.
No, it doesn't matter.
I limited to 5 and we called it.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. The main point of today's video is to talk about.
Think about it from a mathematical standpoint. You got 20 refreshes, right?
Right.
You get 3 runes each, so that is 60 runes you're gonna see. There are 20 runes total, I believe. If my math is off, correct me, someone in YouTube, right? But they count the fight runes and all that, right?
Right, correct.
So you have 20 runes, so on average, you're gonna see 3 of each type of rune. So with every month, you're only gonna see 3 Vio runes.
On average.
That's actually not a lot. 3 Vios, 3 Wills, 3 Swifts, 3 Despairs on average. That's actually not as much as you think because you could just look at this Vio rune on the left, right? It's a flat stat. Right. So you can break down the math to say like, hey, on average, how often am I going to get a Vio crit damage slot 4? And that's actually really low, right?
Right.
And you're presumably, in general, only going to spend crystals on runes that you absolutely would keep or really need or like super OP runes, right? So that narrows down the window or number of runes that you would potentially buy with these crystals, right?
That's correct.
Now, I don't think it's as strong as people would say, but it is a bonus on top of what you already have.
It's free. You don't do anything. It's
quote
free in a
unquote
sense.
free. All it costs is a Nat 5, right?
Well, I mean, it's free to look and refresh. You know,
Correct.
there's no consequence for refreshing and trying to get something in the sense of trying to summon or farm, right? There's resources you gotta waste for this. This is no resources until something pops up, right?
Correct. But so again, if we go with 3 violent runes per month, and let's say the slots 1 to 6 is an even distribution, you're only going to see a slot 4 rune once every 2 months. And then how many combinations of flat defense, crit damage, crit rate are going to be there? I think it's like maybe 10 different combinations, let's say, right? I could do the math later, but 10 different combinations. Well, if that's the case, then you're only going to see a slot 4 once every 2 months. But if you want a crit damage, that's once every 20 months to see that.
And let's say, for example, the player is a lot more end game. They might not even just choose to take a crit damage violent rune without an innate as well. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what position you are, it's not valuable. So that kind of segues us into kind of discussing a little bit more. What do you think players should value when they're looking for runes? Obviously, I'm hearing violent. I know will, right? And then there's going to come the exceptions of maybe despair and swift. But what are your thoughts on this? Yeah.
So I think in general, depending on where you are, I think general rule of thumb is like will, swift, and violent. If they are very good runes, I would take it. If it has a good innate stat and it's something you can re-app, I would generally take that.
You would take swift. Is that something that we should suggest to majority of players? Or?
I would not, because I personally don't need it. I have enough swift runes.
Wait, did you just say violent, swift, and will by chance? You just did.
Correct. Okay, but I would say those are the 3 main ones you're looking at.
Okay.
But for me, I don't need swift, but a lot of players that don't have the swift runes may take it. If it has a good innate and if it has a speed sub, I would think about it. Obviously, I think will and bio prioritize over swift, but swift is a 3rd. And I would kind of put swift and despair pretty similar, because at the end of the day in swift, you probably need, and this depends on your goals. I'm speaking from a person who's trying to hit the red stars in RTA.
Right.
You're going to need at least 2 to 3 very competitive swift sets, meaning at least plus 190 sets, give or take. If you want to start hitting
these levels and bars definitely decrease by depending on what rank you're trying to get. But overall, what would you say that swift is not even viable to even look for in here, because you should be able to farm it? I mean, if you're debating between swift or despair, I mean, a lot of players don't know out there, but despair is the lowest drop rate for giants. So statistically speaking, it'd be better to kind of get your despair set first from this.
That is a good point. That is a good point. I would say, as I've said, Summoner's War is a marathon. It is not.
You always
sprint,
say that.
Right?
I love that saying.
It is a marathon, meaning you want to use your resources most effectively. So if I only have 500 crystals, then I will probably pass on every swift rune and every despair rune, unless there's that one despair rune that's a slot 6 with an innate that I need for my iris. And what I mean by that is also, back then, all my iris had very fast runes on every single slot except for 6. So I literally went and reacted slot 6. Right. So if that's the case, you pool resources into your slot 6 because you need it, right? So if you find one that's perfect, you go for it. But if the converse is, if I have 30,000 crystals, okay, ancient crystals, I don't have 30,000. I think I have 1,800.
Yeah,
right?
like almost 2,000. You almost have 2,000. That's
if I have, if I have 30,000 crystals, why not just buy any rune that's half decent, right?
Right.
So it depends. It is a function of where is my account and how many resources do I have, right? It is a function of those two. Those are the 2 inputs going in, and what do I need, right?
So it depends on where you are and what kind of player you are, how much you spend potentially, or how much of this resource you might have. Because you could be relatively casual, free to play, and have a lot of dupes or a lot of Nat 5s. There are a few very blessed people out there that have quite a few Nat 5s, I would say.
Let's take it to the extreme, right? Like if I had 1,000,000 crystals, 1,000,000 ancient crystals, right? I was hit the lottery and hired, because at that point I wouldn't do it myself. If I hit the lottery, I'd hire someone to summon for me. It got me 100,000 crystals. I'd buy that guard rune on the right to try to go for 29.
Please hire me if you hit the jackpot. Right? I'll summon for you.
Sure. First on the list. But so just drawing the example, it is highly a function of where your account is at, right, and how many resources I have. So you do want to think about how many dupes am I going to get a month, right? So if you click X on this box, we can look at the things that you would get first. I think let's go to the options, right? I think Splendid Blessing, unless you have every single Nat 5 you need, I think it's a must-have. For anything
I
like
think so.
you need like Odins or Bulwarks like I do, I only need those two, right? And maybe one other unit.
Okay, wait.
I still get the blessing.
Before we advance from the blessing here, I mean, I want to segue for just 1 second here. So with the blessing, isn't there a nice like standard that you want to make before you choose to buy blessings, like a threshold, like if you have more than 65% of the nat 5s, or you have X amount of nat 5s, right? Because let's say a player doesn't even have that many nat 5s, it's not worth it for Splendid blessings. The only value that you obtain, because obviously you lose value on, you know, trying to get a new nat 5, because you probably will, but you do get the value of choosing a nat 5, to choose a good one, maybe better than a junk nat 5, right?
That's a really good point, actually. That's actually a really good point. I didn't think of it, but now that you brought it up, it makes a ton of sense. All right, so let's draw two extremes. If I made a new account today and just started, why the hell would I buy? Well, I wouldn't have a Splendid blessing because it's impossible to get with a new account.
Right.
But if I had one nat 5, there's no reason to get a Splendid blessing, right?
Right.
You could probably do it in math to see like what's my odds of getting another dupe versus not dupe, and to see where they equate out. And also, or versus what's the pool that I need left, and do some math to see what's the odds of pulling that versus.
I think the pool that most people should care about is, you know, maybe in a future video or something, that we got to do something where we make a list of nat 5s that we consider, you know, good value. You know what I mean? Because there are a pool of nat 5s you want to get. You could be missing 40% of nat 5s. You have 60% of them, but that 40% is like all the best ones, right?
And so, or if I'm missing 20% only, and I have 80% that are garbage, right, or whatever it is.
Right.
Not that 80. At 80, you're gonna have good stuff. But let's say I have all the ones except the relevant ones. I absolutely want my blessings. Right. So it really is a function of that. Getting the blessings, the importance of that is dependent on what do I need, right, and how valuable is it. But that's a great point. If you're starting it, I mean, I would just spitball a number, but if you got under 15 different nat 5s, I would not get the Splendid blessing. If you have
there's maybe the math needs to be done in the threshold, like 50%,
but there needs to be a math.
65,
so,
yeah,
there's gonna be a math that it's you kind of do something similar to like a break-even analysis on using probabilities, and you'll probably figure it out.
And then what's your stance on, you know, obviously this is for the blessing, right? But should I even care about the blessing? Because think about it. When I feel, this is me, when I feel like I buy a blessing here, I feel like I'm wasting money to a certain extent, right? Let's say, right, on average, a statistical account, it costs $400 for a nat 5. 5 yellow stars. That's the average, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I get a nat 5, and then now I throw it away. I get this resource, and it costs me $400 to get it, and now I just got this blessing again here. And I'm going to have to, on average, spend $400 to get another nat 5, right? And then I get to choose, and then it could be bad, and I could go again. Whereas runes, if I was to take that route and I spent $400, I didn't get lucky, I got a junk one. I feed it, I get the ancient crystals. I use that for guaranteed progression. I save it for runes and grinds for guaranteed progression. And then if I decide to spend again, $400 again, right? So I think this is a very hard thing I've been trying to really explain to the community, how what is valuable, what is not. You know, it's all relative, like you were saying, to your account.
It absolutely is relative, but it depends on what you need. So like if I remember back in season 3 or 4, and I didn't have a Hathor, right? Not having a Hathor was such a big detriment that if I was missing that, I'm getting the blessing no matter what.
Right.
I ended up slamming down 40k summoning stones for that Hathor to get it. Right.
You got it though, at least.
But I got it, right? And that's worth it because that without Hathor, you can't fight G3s or top 50 G3s. It's impossible or very difficult. So I think that Splendid blessing, yes, it does feel like, hey, here's the machine, I'm going to feed 400 into it. But think of it this way. If you have a lot of let's say I have 80% of nat 5s or 90% and I'm missing that Hathor, it is almost like getting 2 nat 5s for 1.
Right.
In a way, because I don't care. Chances are I'm only going to get 1 that I need and 1 that I don't. So it's like getting 2 for 1, except I don't actually get to keep 1.
So what a nice general way to say it, taking blessings is playing the YOLO or not as conservative way, and choosing to only spend your dupes as, you know, legend runes and grindstone is always going to be the omega conservative way. Like, is there 2 spectrums kind of there? Because
I would say so. I mean, obviously, because when you summon, it is definitely highly a game of chance.
Right.
And on the runes and grinds, I can look and choose, see before I buy. Right.
So conservative,
I know what I'm buying,
and more YOLO, I guess. Yeah.
Correct. And the other is, it is a pure gamble. I mean, granted, on the rune you're rolling, and on the grind you're rolling, right? But on the summon, it is a way bigger gamble, more variance than if I was getting a rune, less variance, right?
That's true.
For sure. And I would say it depends on the account. But generally, I favor the blessing. If you're missing anywhere from like 4 or 5 key monsters, I would say you almost always want a blessing up, because key monster can literally tank you. At that time, it took me from rank like 80 to 20, just getting that Hathor. Part of it's probably the surprise element, where people saw me with the Hathor and just had no idea how the hell to draft anymore, because it just changed the whole thing.
Now, you know, every time you bring up Hathor, I always tell everybody the story, right?
Oh yeah, the one where in SWC, the guy summoned Hathor. You summoned him Hathor right in front of me.
Yeah, it was Robbie, a German streamer. He asked me to do one summon for him, one wind scroll. It was a Hathor, and I know you were summoning that night. You guys, Makeitabud was so jealous last night. He was so salty. You know, it was good times.
I don't get salty often, and I was salty then.
That was some great times, man. Great memories there.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Definitely needed alcohol after that.
I think there was alcohol going around during that time. That was a lot of fun. Okay,
and then,
so looks like we talked a little bit about the blessings. We got into the runes and grindstones. We kind of talked about, you know, what's valuable, what's not. The last thing here, this is a reapps, the ability to buy 5 reapps a month. So my general consensus on this so far was that unless you're a player that already at least gets your 3 reapps a week, plus you buy all the reapps 10 per month, I don't think this is valuable. Unless
really?
Unless that's my opinion.
No way. I think it's totally valuable. I think it's
okay. I can explain my side, and you can take your side, and we can discuss it.
I will take a stab first, because
go ahead.
You know, I feel like
I want to hear.
Yeah. So the reapp costs 40, right? And the rune costs, and you're comparing strictly between the reapp and the rune, right? We're not looking at the grind. Right?
I'm just talking about overall value. You know what I mean? Like, you're spending this ancient crystal. Like, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, so when I reapp, I can choose what my rune base is, meaning like if it's a slot 4 CD with the innate stat, that is the rune I am reapping, and I'm just literally getting random stats on it. I think a lot of people get stuck to when they compare values of reapps, they get stuck to, okay, well, normally a reapp pack costs me $30 a month, right? And the rune pack costs me $30 a month. Therefore, when they do these anniversary pack calculations, they think the reapp's not as valuable. But the assumption you are making there is that the $30 reapp pack for 5 reapps is the same as the rune pack with the 1 rune, and that is not true. The $30 reapp pack, mathematically speaking, and how much it saves you in farming, someone did the math once, is a hell lot more than that rune pack by a lot. Many multiples. So you cannot use that assumption when you weigh the two. If you just look at it strictly from an item standpoint, I believe the reapp saves you a lot more farming, given that you can I am assuming you have a base rune to put it on, or you will get one in the next month. If you do not get one, farm more, you need to sit in giants more or dragons more, and you will get that.
Okay, I see exactly what you're saying. So
I believe it's the reapp.
The big comparison here is that you're comparing, you know, choosing to get the runes or choosing to get the reapps, right? And obviously, I have to agree with you here that the reapp is more valuable than the rune, and especially with the example of the rune pack and the reapp pack. But my defense is that, okay, so it costs you 40 ancient crystals, right? And if you buy 5, that's 200 ancient crystals, right?
Yep. That's
approximately 2/3 of the Nat 5. And the Nat 5 on average takes you $400. Right, so for a player, this is what I'm saying. A player that doesn't buy reappraisals already, you shouldn't use these ancient crystals for the reapp. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't already buy the 10 reappraisals already to maximize yourself out, then you're essentially using your ancient crystals, which is more valuable than you just go buying the reapp pack. So that's why I think players like you, endgame players that want to maximize their potential growth and potential progression every single month, that already get the 50 per pack. 12 every week to make 62, trying to maximize up to 67 reapps per month by buying these. But unless you buy all of those, I don't recommend to buy these. That's my opinion.
That is an interesting point. Let me pull up a calculator real quick.
Because that's what I was thinking, right? Because if the player already spends and is buying summons or getting summons and summoning them, like, you know, maybe he needs to convert some of his, you know, his spending that month or any spending in general to maybe the reapp pack then before choosing this. You know, that's my
well. Here's the calculation I want to get first. Right?
Okay.
One Nat 5 will get 300 crystals, right?
Correct.
Right, 300 crystals, and you're saying it's $400
average. That's average, right? Because it's $100.
So if I take 400 and divide it by 300, that is $1.33, right? $1.33 per crystal.
Sure.
Right. $1.33 per crystal.
Sure.
Now, if we're going to say what we want to spend on, I got crystals, I got to spend it on something, right? Okay. So you're saying it costs the reapps a lot. I'm not arguing it does cost quite a bit. When you put in that perspective, that is correct. Let's click the grindstone tab. So let's go into the grindstone here. So one of these grindstones costs 85 crystals. So if I take 85 and multiply it by that 1.33 multiplier, anything I buy in this store is $113 by that logic. So if that's the case, why would I ever buy something here, right? If it's strictly on money, right?
If you value, that's why this comes to the next thing that we're talking. There's so much branches. This comes to the discussion later that we'll have, that gems are a lot more valuable than grinds, because on average, how long will it take you to farm a gem will take a lot longer than grinds, and even farming a specific grind may take a lot longer as well, and that amount of time and resources you spend into it factors in. But that's something for us to segue into. So
and then the other
go ahead.
And then if I extend the math into the runes, right? At 180 crystals, you're coming out about $240 per rune that you're choosing, right?
Right.
So I think like while your point is, I would say the point is correct in looking at how much it costs you to buy one of these items, but at that point it's a sunk cost, right? That cost is already there. You pulled your dupe. You can look at it how much it costs, but to say I don't want to buy a Reapp because it costs me, what is it, 40 times 1.3 is 50 some dollars, right, per Reapp or whatever it is.
Because like for me, I would rather save it and get like a OP rune that I really need. I want to wait for it, than get my Reapp. Because right now, I personally don't I don't buy my 10 Reapps right now. And I tell myself, if I want to buy 3 or 5 Reapps, I'm just gonna spend $30 right there. I'm gonna get 5 Reapps. I'm gonna get my 750, right? So, but I don't know.
What I'm saying is that rune, that OP rune you're buying, costs you $240. Now, if it costs you $240,
if you say it like that, it sounds like a lot, but it's still valuable because I get to guarantee choose that one, right? That's the one I don't have to spend to YOLO to try to get it or anything.
But if I'm taking a rune and having the exact base I want, I'm guaranteeing I'm using that base and getting 4 random stats on it. But I get 5 trials at it versus picking 1 trial at it. You know what I mean? I buy that OP rune. The assumption is I got that base rune on my hand. So I think like it's a great actual insight into, hey, these items cost me this many dollars, but you really need to compare item to item, not item to dollar. Because item to dollar, that's a sunk cost that's already in. You got to compare item to item and what's probabilistically going to get me the thing that's most valuable.
So your suggestion is any player that has ancient crystal should immediately always buy 5 of these?
I think the Reapp is a must over anything. Over Splendid Blessing is first, Reapp second, and then you talk about runes and grinds.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's slightly different on that, but that's very different. That's very interesting.
Always favored Reapps because, and the assumption is with those like me that farm enough, you will always have a base rune Reapp, right? If I have an HP slot 4 with innate, I mean, what's the point of buying a rune with that? Even if it has a speed sub, right? Let's say you have an HP slot, innate, doesn't matter if it's innate or not, but it has a speed sub. To get a triple roll or a quad roll speed is a 1 in 64 chance. So that's under 2% chance, right? So your Reapps are a lot more valuable than just buying that rune there.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm still not gonna buy the 5 Reapps though. I haven't bought them yet, but I want to listen to this and I want to convince myself.
First thing I buy. Yeah.
I want to convince myself because I still believe to a certain extent that players in your position have also a slightly different mentality as well because you have certain things. So would you say it's fair to say that an account looking to decide whether runes or Reapps should really look and analyze their account, because obviously you really don't need the Reapp then if you're limited on resources if you don't have the rune yet at all, or you don't have any rune targets to hit it on?
Well, I would say this, unless you cannot farm B10, unless if you are stuck in B9, maybe you get the rune. But nothing in this world says you have to spend this Reapp today, right? I can spend it next month, I can spend it the month after. And the saying that I always say about this game is that it is a marathon, it is not a sprint, right? And because of that, I can spend my Reapp half a year from now till I get that perfect base, then I blow my Reapp on it. That's the highest chance at that point to get the highest chance overall in the grand scheme of this account's lifespan of getting the best optimal gear. I think
you've kind of swayed me into this, man. I might be buying the 5 Reapps here, to be honest.
I'm just saying, like, the Reapp's the best item. Like, this is the most OP item in the game.
It is a very, very OP item.
Other than the LD scroll, right? The Reapp is the most OP item in the game.
All right, let's do some of these refreshes here. Let's go into the rune refreshes. One thing that we kind of talked about as well. This is some great discussions, and hopefully we can elaborate more on this going forward. Because guys, keep in mind everything that we talk about right here. may change, right? Things can change, analysis can come out, people can do the math on certain things, and these things could change in the future. But for right now, I didn't it's making a lot of sense.
Yeah, I never crunched spreadsheets on this before, and I just thought of this math, and we did some on the spot here. That's what happened.
All right, so one thing I've noticed while doing these rune refreshes, I know sometimes you see some of these and you're like, wow, I wish I farmed this. Look at this revenge rune, right?
Yeah, I know. I wish I had it, but I'm not spending 180 on it.
Yeah. But like one thing we've noticed is doing these refreshes, and I don't know if you want to look at the same, but I've noticed is the rolls on substats are a lot nicer on these than they are when you get runes. Like they tend to lean towards Look at these runes. Like look at the substats.
The despair on the left, it sucks with everything min rolled, right?
I mean, but it has the rolls. It's not giving a lot of flats. It's not giving the flat rolls. We've noticed they look a little bit better.
Well, you haven't seen mine last month.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I've done a couple already. I've done quite a few.
Yeah.
We'll keep going here.
We'll keep
I
going.
wish we farmed that despair one though. I wish we farmed that shield one as well.
I know. Those look so good, but they're
look
not
at these.
worth one.
Look at these. There's speed in every one. How many flats are there? There's one flat in how many? Right? Let's go again. Let's go again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Swift one though.
I would just love to roll these and know what they turn into.
Look at that. How many flats do we got?
Nice. If I was a no, actually no, never mind. Okay,
actually, there's some flats in there, but there's still speed. Like the runes don't look like horrible. I'm not seeing any horrible ones.
They're good. They all have speed. I mean, that's a plus, right?
Look at these. This is like so much percentages.
You see how we're refreshing and no Vio runes have popped up? Right?
No, this is the first one was a lot,
but this is like not as OP as people think, right? We're not seeing like things that you would absolutely commit to.
Exactly. It's things that you wish you could commit to.
Nope, none of these. These are I mean, they all have pretty solid looking rolls, like
that Nem one. That Nem one's so pretty good, dude. Like I wish I farmed that, dude.
Yeah, that's
stats on
pretty good.
No.
Well, this is pretty bad. See,
this is pretty bad. Well, I mean, there's still not that many flats. There's only a flat defense and a flat HP. It's like I don't know. I feel like it's slightly better than normal.
Well, if you want to look at flat defense and flat HP, right now you're looking at like you're going to be trained to look at 1s, 3s, and 5s and discount them. You really need to compare to like 2s, 4s, and 6s. So like right now, I got a 6 that's a flat, and I got a 6 that's not a flat.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's 50%.
True.
That's true.
But I'm curious if they change the distribution if it's not flat.
Yeah, it could just be
bros. Oh my god! Like if that left rune was a Vio rune, we snapped that up in 2 seconds. I do it. Oh my god! I snapped it up in 2 seconds.
Really? That's interesting that you still need Vio slap 3s. I figured at this point you'd have.
I have a lot, but you can always get more efficient ones.
Yeah, because there's those unfortunate ones that you roll and they end up being efficient enough where you just can't see yourself re-apping it again, right? But you're like, this is not what I needed, but I gotta keep it. I know
pretty much. I've had those on my accounts and viewer accounts. Oh, okay, yeah, this is a rip. This is a rip.
Here's a violent one. That's the third violent one we've seen in your set of.
Unless a violent has an innate, I never take it.
Same.
If I had super deep resources, I'll try it. But I don't have an innate, so
Well, if you have super deep resources, then you better make sure you bought all the rune packs first before you do this, right?
Exactly.
That's what I tell people as well.
Exactly.
Right? If you're a whale, you should buy all the rune packs first, and then does that change your mind then on what you choose?
Oh,
nothing from runes.
Well, that's an interesting month, and
I like these so much because even though you get nothing and you say rip, you go, well, it cost me anything. I'll wait till next month, right? That's true. It feels really good.
My resources are finite, right? So it doesn't bother me too much. So on these, by the way,
all right, let's talk about these grinds and enchants.
Choosing these, so generally, yes, a gem is much rarer than a grind. Yep. So almost always, I would take the gem, unless a grind is like a speed grind or a Vio legend grind, because I need a lot of that, I won't take it. And even those Vio legend ones, I have a tough time taking. But again, if your crystal repository is 10,000 crystals, you're buying everything that is tangentially usable, right?
Exactly.
But if your crystal repository is as small and skinny as mine is here, then you're not. You have to be selective.
Some people are gonna flame me for that because this is not small and skinny. Some people are gonna be like 1,900. That's a lot, dude. That's a lot of dudes.
It could have been bigger, but you know, we were trying to appease the summoners or gods, and it didn't pan out.
So I guess the general thing to take away, like we kind of discussed, was gems on average are harder to farm than grinds, so they should be valued more. Now let's get into the details. What kind of gems, right? Obviously speed gems, percent gems, but what about accuracy, resistance, crit rate, crit damage? Because I don't value crit damage or accuracy or resistance as much. I would say.
It is a good question. Yeah, absolutely. So when I do my immemorial packs, yes, I do those. Any accuracy, crit rate, crit damage gem, I view as a rip. I do not view those as wins. The only thing that are wins are defense percent, HP percent, attack percent, and speed. Reason why I view those as wins as gems is because you can grind on them.
It's exactly the reason. Is there a certain order that you think you prefer those in terms of like speed and attack, or is there any kind of preference?
So I would
priority?
say speed is the lowest of the four, because usually my most used runes have some sort of speed, so I rarely will gem in speed. However, there are runes that have 3 very fat stats and need speed, and that's where speed goes in.
Right.
You need to know what gems your account needs. I value HP the most simply because right now my account needs the HP the most. I think I have a backlog of maybe needing like 8 or 9 of these.
So it's a personal preference then.
Personal preference, but generally, right, if you're favoring the high speed runes, you will need to gem in defense or HP. Your support units all need that stuff. So your defense HP pretty high, and I would say attack is probably after. But again, it's personal to the account.
So I basically, players looking to, do these refreshes and get gems, pretty much never get resistance gems, never get accuracy gems, never get crit damage gems, never get crit rate gems.
I will never get those, even if I have a repository of 100,000 crystals here.
There you go. So you guys hear it here first. Now let's get into the grindstones then.
Sure.
Here we go. Speed grindstones.
Grinds, I think, are a little different. So, or kind of, I'm going to be a lot more selective with my grinds. I almost need them to be exclusively speed grinds. And if they're going to be non-speed, so they need to be defense, HP, or attack percent, probably needs to be either Vio and maybe will if I have a really good rune that I need to gem or need to grind like now, right? Or slap on a monster. I already know what it's going on, and I need it to appear in my optimizer, then I will buy this grind, right? I would say the exception to the Vio and Will grinds on speed, if you have Despair or Revenge and something was like 28 speed base or 26 speed base, go ahead and buy it. I would just buy
I told people that the same. Like I told them, even for Swift, if you just hit a 30 speed rune and you're gonna celebrate, you just do it, dude. If you don't have one and you want to celebrate, just do it. You can just do it. I mean,
it's a good point. Swift is actually, I forgot that. Swift is an auto buy too, because a lot of times people have maybe, if they have 2 or 3 Swift sets, and they're usually going to be half on purple grinds, half on orange grinds, every speed is huge, right? And especially if you're like top tier G3, every speed matters. There was one time my Oki's 310, right? I had a Tiana. I had a Tiana outspeeded straight up.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Wait, did you guys have speed leads? Okay, there's gotta be some kind of speed lead actually going on.
No leads, right?
Your
no
310 Oki got outsped by a Tiana.
Outsped by a Tiana, right?
Wow, and that's a pretty fast Tiana.
When you're at that level, right, or that point in the game, every speed matters, right? So those Swift ones become auto buys. Because that one speed, if he outspeeds, he wins. If he doesn't, he loses. It decides the game right then and there.
Wow, he had that much more speed than you? That's like what? Because it's a 90. What is Tiana? 96?
96.
What is Oki like? 103, 104, 101?
101.
Oh
5
my
base
gosh,
difference.
5 base difference plus the small amount from the speed, Swift set. Oh my goodness.
Nuts. It blew my mind when I was outsped. It was crazy. I luck sacked him, so I ended up winning through luck sacking. But
Got him.
I should have lost. I know, it doesn't matter, right?
All right, so players should be looking for percent or speed gems. Never any of the other, crit rate, crit damage, resistance, accuracy gems. Coming into grinds, it's, definitely all of these come into your preference of what you need for your account, what you're missing, but definitely Violent and Will, and looking more towards the speed than the percentages, I feel. Because for a certain extent, I feel like players investing at 85 Ancient Crystal for a 5 to 10 chance at a percent, rather than just farming purples up the yin yang, right? I don't find the value in a couple percentages unless you're a super endgame player trying to maximize your couple percents left on a rune.
Yeah, if you're super end, it's only if you're super endgame, or if you have an absolutely perfect rune that's like 30 speed or 25 speed, and you know you're going to use these legend grinds on it, because if you use purples, you're going to override them anyways, right? With 26, 27 speed, you will use this rune, you need to put the best things on it. Then I think it's okay. But unless you have that type of rune that you need to grind, you could arguably pass on a Vio defense HP percent as well. Okay. I don't pass on them, but other
you're passing on Despair speed, right? I think you rate enough that
and
you get
when I looked at that, I looked at mine are all +5 already.
All right, let's keep going then. Let's see if these are a lot more prone to popping out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's this is a rip.
This
right?
is very easy because all you need to look for is for you is Will Violent right now, right? You don't need anything else.
Yeah, I don't need anything on Revenge. We're good, I think.
Oh, Violent flat. You want? You sure
Nope.
you want that? No, you sure? You sure about that?
I'm positive. Again, if not, I would never buy this now because I don't have the rune for it. But that energy with HP, if someone had a 28 speed energy rune, you buy that. You buy that gem, right? If you have the rune for it, you buy the gem.
I guess that's true because
right. If
even though it's energy, you know, there's a stigma in your
Right.
head, like a stereotype, like oh, energy, right? But I mean, dude, go farm raids. Go tell me how long it's gonna take you to
Exactly.
get that gem. That's true. That's true.
Right. Or you're gonna need an immemorial for it. So you have the rune for it. You buy it. Absolutely. Yeah, this is pass.
Wow, these are going really good.
Ick. If there was a destroy legend HP, I would be tempted.
Destroy legend HP. Oh, destroy legend attack.
I'd be tempted.
Oh, but you're talking about gem, I'm assuming.
Gem, HP gem. I'd be tempted.
Focus, shield tolerance. Dude, we had one we did on stream for this guy. Oh my god, dude, we like burned all of his crystals in here because it was like all violet
Really?
gems and all speed gems, and it was like all violent like speed grinds, and it was like he needed them all. So just
What a problem
bought
to
them all.
have, right?
I know,
What a
right?
problem. Nope. These are rip. I need bio. Okay, so will attack, huh?
That comes down
So,
to you. You need to go look at something?
99% of people should pass on the will attack.
Do you need me to look at something? Or do you have something? I can go look at it.
Well, I mean, you could if you want. So the way I rate if I need this will attack or not is I go to my will runes, I look at the top 5 speed for each slot and see like what they're grinded at, and if there's anything at +7, I probably will buy it. So you sort by speed, and that one's there's no attack in that. So like this one here plus.
Oh,
so that
speed and
doesn't-
attack. I'm sorry.
No, I just look at speed, right? Oh yeah, you could look at
Yeah,
attack. Yeah,
it has to be. It has to have attack.
Yeah, and then I would say like if that anything that's like that I would use that needs it, I would like. Get.
Oh, like on this guy. Yeah, we should get it for this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, this guy.
Oh.
He's been missing it for quite a while now.
And then I don't have good slot 3s, so you can probably skip the slot 3s. Slot 4.
Well,
I
slot
think I
3
passed
can't
on this.
attack percent.
I've passed on it last month too. I think I don't remember. Yeah, I think we pass. Let's just pass for.
He doesn't want us to see all his runes. Nah, it's just.
Oh, you can see it if you want.
Nah,
you can take a
I
look.
know.
You can take a look.
We've
at
been on your
everything.
account many times. I'm just messing around.
Yeah, but I think it's a pass. It's like it's just attack.
Last one.
No. Last one.
I saved you a lot of ancient crystals this
Ooh,
month. You
well,
can thank
you
me later.
Thanks, man. thanks for saving my currency.
0 cost on these as well, so
Yeah.
big pog.
I'm like 3, 4, maybe 500 summons in, and no popping of the next blessing anyway. So
Oh, really?
yeah, we're good. I mean, I don't summon as much as I used to, so I'm not building up these crystals as much as
Now,
quickly
you
as
mind if I see what you're still missing? Just curious.
Yeah, I have pretty much everything. I got my Rika yeah, I got everything, I guess.
God dang it! Oh, you got some more.
I know,
missing here.
and I don't have dude. At this point, I
Oh,
only
Bulwark.
need.
Yeah, a lot of people have been.
Yeah,
You don't
I
have
need
it, right?
Bulwark.
Yeah. Oh, there was that
Bulwark-
one guy who passed on the Bulwark on stream. Remember?
I saw that.
But I mean, come on, let's be real. Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about it for a second. Most
Yeah,
players,
okay.
unless you're RTA, Bulwark has no functionality for them.
What did he
early
take? He
mid-game.
took the Wusa, right?
Wusa
Or
or
what did he
something like
take?
that. Yeah, Wusa or something
I
like
think-
that.
If you're a beginner player, I think taking Wusa's okay.
Even mid game,
But again-
I think Wusa is like ridiculously OP in Guild Wars and Guild Siege. He's so easy.
You do need a Wusa. I think if your game is incomplete with that one, but the game is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
So
I
it
love that
depends.
saying.
If you ever have the intent of playing RTA competitively, you should
Mhm.
take the Bulwark. And if you intend to play like for several years, if you just want to just take what's best here and now, then Wusa's fine.
Yeah.
Depends on your goals.
You're also missing Tyrannies and Odin, so you know those could be nice, fun toys, but
Missing the
I
Cannon
know.
Girl too. you know,
oh,
like,
this
so-
is one of the most OP units so far.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that every high level player doesn't want to pull it out yet. They're saving it for SWC to pull us out.
Got it.
Yeah.
Secret
Mhm.
weapon. Secret weapon.
Yeah, Christina. Mhm. All right, man. Anyways, that was a lot of fun. I think we gave a lot of great insight on this ancient crystal shop. A lot of I thought this got a lot deeper than I thought it was gonna get.
Sure.
And I think it's great. It like opens up a lot of people's eyes to how they should spend their ancient crystals. But honestly, end of the day, I tell you guys, it's a game, right? Spend responsibly. play how you want to play the game, man. You can do whatever the hell you want. You want to troll somebody, you want to take a resistance like gem, whatever you want to do, man.
You can feed Nat 5s if it makes you happy and for the memes. Right?
Or you could feed Nat 5s or say that because you fed Nat 5s in the past and didn't know about the Ancient Crystal Shop, and now the Ancient Crystal Shop came out and you regret feeding every single Nat 5 potentially in the past. Oh wait, that was you. My bad.
Oh, damn.
All right, thank you guys for watching this video. Big shout out to you, Makeitabud. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. We'll put his description to his Twitch down below. He does stream from time to time, several times a month, so definitely get in there and ask questions because he's a very, very knowledgeable player in the community. Thank you for your time, Makeitabud. I appreciate
Thanks
that.
for having me, man.
Of course. Make
Good
sure you guys.
luck with your shop.
Yeah, of course. I definitely look forward to it. Maybe we'll do another video and we'll do mine or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Hopefully we get to spend some of your currency.
Yeah, definitely. So make sure you guys hit a like, leave a comment below. Any questions that you guys have, what you guys thought about the video, just any general comment would be great. If you guys can leave something below, I appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more things like this in the future. Yeah, but all right, that's gonna be it. I'll see you guys on the next live stream video. I love you.